They said the divorce would be filed by morning. He laughed in my face. He had no idea I had already read every message on his laptop and packed the truck he would never think to check. My name is Emily Carter. I am 36, and for 10 years I made myself smaller so my husband Nathan could feel bigger. We started with nothing, a cramped apartment, dreams sketched on a napkin. Then the money came, only for him. We moved into a glass penthouse, and slowly I became furniture, an accessory he displayed at parties while he decided everything, from our vacations to the color of our walls. When I landed my first big design contract, he silenced me mid-sentence and called my career a hobby. On my birthday, he threw a party for 50 clients and left me alone cutting my own cake. I told myself it was a rough patch. It was erosion, year after year, until nothing was left of me. Then came the Sunday morning that changed everything. Nathan left his laptop open while showering. A message lit up the screen, meant for someone else. The sender was Brooke, his 24-year-old assistant. I scrolled through 6 months of messages. He called me boring, called me dead weight, told her he planned to leave me once he protected his money. I did not scream. Something cold and clear settled into my chest instead. I closed the laptop and handed him his coffee with a steady hand. The next morning, I called a divorce attorney. I packed only what was truly mine and left the rest behind. When Nathan came home to find me sitting there with a suitcase, he laughed and asked if I was joking. I told him I knew about Brooke. The laughter died instantly. He shouted I had nothing without him, that I would come crawling back. I told him to watch me, then walked out without a single tear. 2 weeks later, I drove to a crumbling cottage on the Oregon coast, left to me by my grandmother, the same one Nathan once called a worthless dump. I scrubbed floors, let the ocean air back into my life, and blocked his number completely. I found work at a small design firm, where a man named Marcus looked at my sketches and told me they had soul. I cried afterward, not from sadness, but from finally being heard. 6 months later, I learned Nathan was marrying Brooke in a lavish wedding back in the city. I felt nothing. On the day of the ceremony, I hiked a cliff trail alone and released him into the wind. That should have been the end. It was only the beginning of his unraveling. An old family friend named Walter attended that wedding and told me everything after. In front of Nathan's own investors, Walter mentioned he had lost quite a fortune. Confused, Nathan insisted he had lost nothing. Walter explained that my inherited coastal land had just been rezoned for luxury development, and combined with my grandmother's trust, I was now worth 10 times what Nathan was. The color drained from his face. Brooke stood frozen beside him. Within the hour, someone caught Nathan on video screaming at a waiter and shoving Brooke, shouting that everyone around him was useless. The video hit 2 million views by Monday. His investors pulled out within days. His firm forced him to resign. Brooke packed a bag and left him. The calls to me started that same weekend, his voice ragged and desperate, begging me to let him come to Oregon and start over with my money and his business mind. He never once said he loved me. He only said he needed me. I told him gently that he needed to learn how to be alone. He screamed that I owed him everything. I said goodbye and blocked that number too. It has been a year now. I am a partner at that design firm, my name on the door beside Marcus's. I started a scholarship fund with part of my inheritance for young women in design. My grandmother's roses climb the stone wall outside my cottage, thorny and impossibly alive. I adopted a golden retriever who sleeps at my feet while I sketch. Nathan sold the penthouse and moved to a smaller city, working far beneath what he once had, and honestly, I rarely think of him at all. I did not destroy his life. I simply stopped being the glue that held his fragile ego together, and the moment I let go, he came apart on his own. Real revenge was never about tearing someone else down. It was waking up without dread in my stomach, drinking my coffee, and finally liking the woman holding the cup. This morning I stood on my porch watching waves crash against the cliffs, 37 years old, alone, and more whole than I have ever been. Sometimes the loudest justice is silence. Sometimes the quietest revenge is simply choosing yourself and never looking back.